Hey everyone, welcome to series 2 of the podcast. Today we've got George joining us. He's juggling life, a job, a baby, YouTube, and also reselling. And that can be tricky. So we're going to chat to George about how he's managing that. And yeah, we're going to bring George on straight after the intro. Hey, I'm Car Boot Chris. I'm a full-time UK online reseller. I operate mainly on eBay and also Whatnot, but also some other platforms as well. I'm going to bring you regular podcasts all about reselling, hopefully to keep you company, to entertain, or maybe to educate, who knows. Welcome to the Everything Reselling Podcast. Hey folks, welcome back to the Everything Reselling Podcast, and I'm Car Boot Chris. I'm a full-time reseller, and we've made it to Series 2, which is a good thing. Series 1 actually has just about reached 1,000 downloads on the audio channels, so the likes of podcast, Apple Music and stuff. So if you're listening and you've not even heard of Season 1 or Series 1, please go back and have a look or have a listen. Because we're just about to pass the 1,000 downloads mark, which is great, really, really great. Thank you all for listening and joining us. Today, I've got a guest, George from George's Treasure Shed, and George is going to come on and talk about how he's managing to juggle a pretty busy life, to be honest with you, as a part-time reseller. So, without further ado, let's get George on and see what he's got to say for himself. Hello.
Good evening, Chris. How are we doing?
I'm good, thank you. Are you okay, mate?
Yeah, doing really well, thank you.
Excellent. So, George, do you want to give yourself a bit of an introduction?
Yeah, so my name's George. I'm a part-time eBay reseller. So basically, I run an eBay shop alongside a full-time job. So I work in the engineering industry, and I get to travel all across the country, installing products for flood defense and fish migration, things like that. So it's very interesting. I also have a newborn baby, me and my wife. He's 14 weeks old. So we've got him to look after. And I've been reselling for about 4 years now, I think. I think it was sort of just before COVID. I think I had a few months of car boots and then COVID hit. That's sort of my background.
Wow, 4 years. I actually didn't realize you'd been going for that long.
Yeah, so I've been reselling for 4 years, but I'd only sort of discovered the sort of YouTube community and Instagram and things like that. I only made my own page and set up properly about a couple of years ago.
Okay. So let me talk about your day job, because you've got a real job, haven't you, George? Not like some of us, we don't have real jobs. You've got a real job.
That's the thing. It sounds weird calling it a real job when that is your real job. But
I know. I'm only kidding. But you do like flood defences and stuff. Have you ever done anything over here in Rill? Because they've had floods and stuff here in the past.
Funny you say that. I'm heading to Wales on Monday actually, but not specifically Rill, but we've done some bits in Torquay. I know you used to live down there, so yeah, we get all over the country really. It's mainly on the coasts where things are affected with flooding, but it can also be inland as well with a lot of the bigger rivers running across the country. So we get all over.
How do you even get into a job like that?
So I'll tell you, I'm 25 years old, and I never went to university because I was quite a hands-on kind of person. So I've always enjoyed using my hands, making things, overcoming problems and things like that. I went into engineering as a CNC machinist. So I was manufacturing components for aeroplanes, for rail, things like that, on machines. And I did that for 5 years, and I just needed to get out of a factory environment. I wasn't seeing any of the country, things like that. So I thought I need to find a job where I can travel and get to places and see a bit more of the country. So it's a similar kind of job in a way where engineering skills are transferable, but it was a whole new industry. It's only a small company and it's a very niche sort of area. But yeah, we do get quite a lot of work all around the country because we're one of the only companies providing this type of work.
Yeah, I guess until you've shored up every single bit of flood defence, then you're still going to be in demand for quite a while.
That's the thing. By the time you've done them all, the first ones will be up for renewal again.
Yeah, and our oceans are rising, so there's more places.
That's the thing, yeah.
Anyway, that's really interesting that you do that as a job. Would you say, like, do you have a lot of hours to do, or is it a standard sort of 37-hour week or whatever?
Yeah, so it's a kind of a mixture. So everyone's split up into different teams. So I'm part of the installations team. Our company actually design and manufacture the products as well. So there's people that focus on that just stay in the warehouse and the manufacturing side of it. And then there's us that gets out and about. So it's not always Monday to Friday solid traveling around the country. If there's quiet spells or there's no jobs on, then we will give a hand helping to make the products as well, which then becomes your sort of normal 9 to 5 job. And then there are days where you're away Monday to Friday, or you have a couple of nights away here and there. So yeah, it's quite a mixture. You can have long weeks. Obviously, when you're working away, you do quite a bit of overtime. You're traveling and stuff like that. You accumulate some hours, and we can have time off. So it's quite flexible, really.
Excellent. Really interesting that. Big hello to everybody who's watching live on YouTube. We're live on YouTube right now. And if you've got any questions as we go along, I'll try to pick up on one or two. So engineering to reselling, what the heck got you into reselling? How did that start?
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I think I can maybe take it right back to when I lived at my parents'. They were always into sort of antiques and collectibles and things like that, and
Okay.
they used to drag me around the car boots. And at that age, as a kid, I was the kind of kid that was like didn't want to be there, wasn't looking at anything, literally being dragged around. And then that sort of developed into me sort of getting my own hobbies. So I was into Pokemon cards, I was into video games, things like that. So I started to find them at car boots, and start to sort of buy them with my own money and things like that to keep. And it kind of just developed from there. I used to obviously sell off some old games that I didn't want, and then I kind of discovered, well, I was only paying 50p for this game, and now it's selling for £10 or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people sort of get this idea where it like clicks in their head, and they're like, actually, I might be able to make a thing about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started buying and selling sort of an area I knew about, because I knew the values or whatever, and slowly just started expanding into different areas, and then yeah, a few years later it became a business, and it all took off.
So you didn't have the normal entry into reselling whereby you spotted somebody on YouTube and then you thought, oh, I can do that, I'm going to go out and start looking.
No, it was quite the opposite. I'd say I was probably doing it for about a year before I even discovered, people were doing this on YouTube and Instagram. I didn't really watch any of that or know anyone. It was one of them things I didn't even realize it was a thing that other people were doing. And then when I found people like yourself that was actually doing it full time, I was shocked by that as well. But because I was selling quite a bit, I could see the potential, and I could see how people could definitely do it full time. But yeah, it all came the other way around, really.
Yeah, kind of the opposite to a lot of people. So
Yeah.
what kind of stuff do you like to pick up, and where do you sell it?
So like I say, it started with like the Pokemon cards and the games and things that I knew about. It started expanding, and the present day, I'll literally buy and sell anything that's got some profit in it. I've
Yeah.
pretty much got no limits
You're an everything
on
seller then.
anything. Yeah, definitely an everything seller. The only thing that I'd say was a limit is if I'm buying it or whatever, then the first thing I think about is posting it. Am I going to be able to ship this?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So many regrets have been had in the past where you've bought something thinking there's profit in it, and then you think, crap, I've got to send this to somebody.
That's the thing.
Having said that, George, I've seen on your Instagram you've picked up some pretty big things.
Yeah. So sometimes, like, I think we'll go into this in a bit more detail, but obviously I do a bit of dumpster diving as well. And before I'm even pulling stuff out of skips, I'm thinking about how I'm posting it.
Yeah. But we do have the luxury of other sites like Facebook Marketplace where, people can collect and you don't need to post. So do you bear that in mind sometimes? Do you think, oh, that can be specifically for Facebook Marketplace and I'm not going to put it anywhere else?
Yeah. So I'd say mainly everything is listed on eBay. And then if I've got sort of bigger, bulkier items, I might still list them on eBay for collection only. But they don't tend to get any sales because it's all sort of location based. If someone wants it, they've got to travel, unless it's something valuable and delicate and fragile, then people will travel if they really want it.
Yeah.
But your bog standard stuff, it doesn't tend to go. So I do tend to cross list like a lot of stuff onto Facebook Marketplace, and do it a bit cheaper.
Manually, or do you use like a lister or something?
Yeah, I've seen there's obviously Zip Sale, which is a cross lister, but I do it manually. I basically have all the photos on my phone, and I just copy and paste the titles off the eBay app into Facebook.
Yeah. Fair enough.
People say it's hard work, but it's quite quick once you get used to it.
Yeah, not too bad. So are you mainly eBay and Facebook? Any other platforms you operate on that you don't mind talking about?
Not really. I buy on Vinted, but I've never had much luck with selling on Vinted. I don't know whether it's the type of products that I sell or anything, but I've not had much luck with selling on Vinted. No, just eBay and Facebook Marketplace, really.
Yeah, makes sense that. So, you're part-time at the minute. What's your motivation for reselling? Is it financial? Is it, what is your main motivation? Why did you? Because you're in a pretty, from what I understand, you're probably in a fairly decently paid job.
Yeah, it's an averagely paid job, so it's an average pay, but there's potential for me to progress with it being a smaller company. You feel like you're not just a number, you feel like you're part of a family as such, and everyone gets on, and there's definitely potential there. With sort of being part-time, I'll say that the motivation with the reselling side of it is it brings in that extra little bit of income that maybe we can put towards holidays and things like that.
Exactly.
And and I think there's stuff changing in our lives that I think we'll have a chat about, which that extra little bit of income just helps. And it's something I enjoy doing. There's nothing better than getting that sort of thrill of, making quite a bit of profit on an item. And I think now and again you do get them big hitter items, and that just keeps you going to go again, really.
I think sometimes being a part-time reseller when you've got a full-time job or even a part-time job, that can be the best of both worlds. I know when I was part-time before I went full-time, I really enjoyed it. I could be picky about what I picked up. I could pick up more of the things I enjoyed selling and buying. And I could pick up reselling and put it back down again at will because I could turn everything off if I wanted to. So it was the best of both worlds. It wasn't a necessity, but like you said, my first goal of reselling as part-time was simply as a holiday fund. It was, this can pay for 1 or 2 holidays in a year. That was my only goal. and then it kind of
Yeah.
grew from there.
Yeah, I definitely say that's the main advantage of being able to do as much or as little of it as you want. Say I've got a really busy month with my other job working away, then I can kind of just leave eBay and it can just tick over. Things will sell, but it's not the end of the world. As opposed to if it was my sole income, then I'd have all that stress of I need to make so much by the end of the month. There's no days where you can just sit around. You need to get out there. You need to be finding them products to sell. Whereas with my job, as long as I turn up every day and do what I need to do, I know what I'm getting paid at the end of the month.
You're okay. Yeah, you're all right. Any plans at all? Like, is there any little part of you that thinks, let's do full time, let's quit the day job?
I mean, obviously, I really enjoy what I'm doing, and that it has been in my head of obviously I'd love to do that. I've had times where I've had like a couple of weeks off work, and I've been managing to do a lot of sourcing, go to all these car boots, and after a week or so, I'm thinking, yeah, I could get used to this. But I think if anything, unless anything drastically changes financially, maybe if I win the lottery or something, I can give my job up and do this on the side. But at the moment, it's just the right balance financially, where I've got it really.
Yeah. It sounds like you've got the perfect balance. There's nothing better than enjoying your job, and whether that be self-employed or employed, it doesn't matter if you enjoy your job. Belle, she loves her job. She wouldn't give that up for anything. And I think if you've got an aspect of that, then that's really important. And it doesn't really matter whether you're working for the man or you're working for yourself, as long as you're enjoying it and you're getting paid what you need to be paid. Just flicking over to the YouTube chat, Fluffy Muffin says, at what point did you think you could go full time? What was the turning point? Well, George is part time and has no intention of going full time. I am full time, and to answer that question, my turning point was probably having enough of certain people at work, and basically situations at work almost forced me in that direction. But yeah, that was basically it. And long story short says, what is the day job? You might have missed the beginning, Rob, but George is in engineering and mainly in flood defences and what was the rest? Fish migration and stuff.
Fish migration, yeah. So another kind of niche area, but
niche, isn't it?
Fish and eels have a migration season in the year. So we install equipment along the rivers to make sure they can swim upstream and spawn and stuff.
It reminds me, when you're talking about that, you know what that reminds me of? What's that film with Ewan McGregor in it?
Well, I'm not too sure. I'm not great on films.
Salmon fishing of the Yemen or something in the Yemen.
Yeah, similar kind of thing.
He has to migrate salmon to like across the world to the Yemen or something. A really good film, actually. You should watch it if you're into the migration of fish.
Yeah, sounds like it's super.
Is it like working in the coal mine, says Rob? I don't think so, Rob. I don't think so.
No. I'm outside a lot of the time.
Fluffy Muffin's got a question. When you retire from your day job, which will be in quite a while because you're only 25, do you think you'd carry on reselling?
Yeah, I'm only 25 and they keep pushing the retirement age up, don't they? So
yeah, it'd be about 85 by the time you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe at that point, when I've retired from my job, maybe I would still go out and source things, but maybe I'll do it in a way where I'll start collecting items because maybe I'm not relying on it financially or anything like that. So I can still go out to car boots and antique stores and things like that, but maybe just buy items and have some fun collecting the bits that I enjoy, really.
I wonder, like, when you retire, so you're 25, so what's that, like, 45? About 45 years. That's a long time, isn't it? That's as old as me, 45 years. That's my age. Oh, God, I've let it slip now, haven't I? when 45 years from now, what the heck will reselling look like?
Don't know. What
Oh,
will the world be like?
Jesus. We might not all be here by then.
No, I don't know.
Anyway, that's a bit glum, isn't it? Do your family all support you with your reselling? Do they understand what you do? Do you talk to them about it?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said before, my mum and dad go to car boots and things like that, so they're always on the hunt. And every time I go and visit them, they've always got a pile of stuff to go on my shop, which is great.
That's good.
My wife really supports me. She will pick and pack orders. She'll take them to the shop. Say I'm working away and I've got an early start. She'll help out if there's any post due and things like that. I kind of stick to the sourcing and the photographing and listing side of it. But because I've got all my sort of SKU system, literally, she doesn't need to know much. She can walk in the garage, find everything, and she's quite clued up on that. So she really supports me. And yeah, as soon as sort of friends and family know what you're doing, whenever they're selling stuff and things like that, they're always on to you. I'm clearing out my house, or I'm clearing out my garage. Is there anything you want? So that works really well. And likewise with all my work colleagues in my other job, they all know what I do. And when they're clearing things out, I get boxes of DVDs, got
Perfect.
old
Yeah.
people's games consoles, people moving house and things like that. They all come to me because the thing is, when you're resellers like us, selling things online is because we've got it down to a T. We can do it
Yeah.
efficiently. We can list and photograph and things like that. When other people, sort of outsiders, want to sell stuff, they find it hard work. It's slow.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Things like that. So a
That
lot
is
of the time,
true.
they find a good idea where they can just sell a job lot to us. We can go through it, make a bit of money, obviously give them a good price, and
That
it
is
gets
true.
everything
And
sold.
I've had that conversation today actually because my sister-in-law put a picture of some clothing in a Facebook group, a family Facebook messenger thing, saying, "Does anyone want these?" And I don't think there was any takers, but she did say, "Oh, Chris, do you want these for like whatnot, or do you want them for eBay?"
Yeah,
And I just said to her, like, "Just bang them on Vinted. You'll sell them, no problem." But
yeah,
the reply was that obviously she didn't want the hassle and the time of having to deal with, posting and dealing with customers and stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
not everybody wants to do it. And like you said, when you're not doing it on a day-to-day basis, it is a bit more difficult than, when we just bang out a parcel and, it's very, very easy, isn't it?
Yeah, we've all got the setup to photograph it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vinted, at least Vinted, I think was kind of introduced as a bit of like a. I see it as like an online car boot sale as such.
Yeah. It's
Where
kind
it's
of
a
how
bit
they
more.
market themselves as well, isn't it? They market themselves as
Yeah,
in clear. Are you having a clear out of your wardrobe? You can sell it on
mm,
Vinted. That's how they market themselves.
yeah, and it's probably to the new seller. It's a bit more user friendly than eBay.
Oh yeah,
Obviously, there's no fees and stuff like that. You can see your money sat there and things like that. So I think it's definitely taken off for people selling and buying second hand everything. Really, I think it started out just clothing, and now you can pretty much put anything on
you
there.
can pretty much sell anything on there, can't you? And you can tell that it's let's just say like inexperienced sellers, like not professional sellers like us, but because the way things arrive sometimes, bin bags. Yeah, what else have we had? I was it someone who posted today? Was it Brum Reseller posted something he'd seen where somebody had wrapped something in a nappy and sent it?
Oh no,
Yeah, a nappy. I mean, obviously not a used nappy, but still
no.
putting it
They're,
in a nappy.
they're probably quite good void fill actually.
Well, they're probably quite good and padded as well, but it's not the point,
Yeah,
in it. It's a
yeah.
nappy.
I've
Yeah,
done a couple of videos on my channel about vintage parcels and things like that, about
yeah,
buying on there and flipping on eBay. And yeah, I had a bit of a laugh about how they turn up. Sainsbury's, Tesco, Asda bags, like you say,
yeah.
bin liners, Christmas wrapping paper, things like that.
To be fair, I've done Christmas wrapping paper this year. I've used it as void fill. It's like, well, it's the same
Yeah.
as newspaper, so I used it as well. Somebody even got, was it Tam and Bell? I can't remember, but I think it might have been Tam and Bell on YouTube. I sent them something, and they even managed to get the tag in the from the paper was on it as well.
Oh, right.
Schoolboy error from me. Limelight Vinty on YouTube is talking about dumpster diving. We'll come to that in a little while, Limelight, if you don't mind. So I mentioned at the start, George, how you've got a lot of stuff like going on in your life. You've got your main job, you've got a baby, newborn baby. Congrats, by the way, for
Thank you.
little one. You got your part-time reselling, you got YouTube as well. So what does your say like a typical day in George's life? What does it look like?
So say I've got a normal day where I'm not working away and I'm just at the yard making some of the products and things like that, which has been this week. I haven't been away this week. I go away next week. So my normal day has kind of changed sort of pre and post having the baby. I've kind of had to adapt a bit and change. So normally I leave the house to go to work about 10 to 8 in the morning. And I found I used to do a lot of my jobs in the evening after I come home from work. But because of our little baby boy's kind of routine at the moment, I found it's better to get up a bit earlier in the morning, do what I need to do in the morning while my wife and him still asleep. And then when I come home after work, I don't have to pack my orders or do photographing or anything like that.
That's good.
So I'll probably wake up between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's not good.
Get changed and get sorted. We've got a dog as well, so get him fed, things like that. Make my pack up, get some breakfast, make a coffee, and then get out in the garage. And then I might have an hour and a half in the garage, where I'm picking any orders, doing any photographing, literally anything that needs doing. And then I'll put my orders in my car, and if I need to drop off any parcels, I'll leave a bit earlier. So I'll leave about 7:15. This is where things have changed again. Now I've introduced a bit of dumpster diving. But yeah, I'll drop off my parcels on the way to my job, basically. But I've also found I can, because I don't like to go out just to do one thing. So if I'm going to work, I like to drop off parcels on the way. But also with the dumpster diving, I might get up quite early. I might, if I don't have anything to do, I might head out of the house at 6 o'clock in the morning. I might check some dumpsters. I might drop off some parcels and then make my way to work.
Okay.
Do my day at work, finish at 5 o'clock. I work about half an hour away from home.
Not too bad.
No, get back about 5:30. And because I've completed all my tasks in the morning, it means I can maybe have a bit of family time. Obviously, my wife's still on maternity leave, so she's had little boy all day. So I might take him off her hands, have a bit of playtime with him. She can make the dinner and stuff like that. And yeah, just sort of balance the duties really. And probably about between 7 and 8 o'clock, we'll come upstairs, try and get him to sleep. And then we might have a couple of hours of catching up on YouTube and a bit of telly. And yeah, back to bed and repeat.
I'm exhausted just thinking about all that. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with when you're getting up that early.
I'm definitely used to it.
Sounds like you've got your structure of the day sort of down to a T now. So you getting up early sounds like a really good plan because you can get stuff done before little and sort of needs to be, up and about.
That's it. Like we always try and aim to be asleep by like 9 o'clock, but obviously he has got a routine, but it's still a bit hit and miss. He's still awake every few hours for a bottle and a change and things like that. So we're still up a few times in the night as well. So it is quite broken sleep, but that's part of it. We're getting quite used to it.
Let's move over to you've touched on dumpster diving, so that's kind of part of your thing at the minute, isn't it? I've seen some videos on your YouTube channel. I've seen some stuff on your Instagram. Where did that all start, and how long have you been doing that?
Yeah, so I think I discovered it on YouTube. So obviously I started reselling, then I discovered YouTube, started watching loads of people on there, started to build up a bit of a community. Obviously everyone's on Instagram as well. So I literally follow everyone because I love seeing what people are up to. I love seeing what they're picking up. And then obviously YouTube doing its thing started recommending different types of videos to me.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of big sort of dumpster divers that do it full time in the UK. And I sort of started watching a lot of that, not really with the intention of doing it myself, because it's one of them things where everyone's, quite naturally quite nervous. You've got to step out your comfort zone a bit. It doesn't seem quite natural. It kind of feels like you're doing something wrong, like you're breaking the law and things like that. So yeah, I started watching a lot of that and seeing some really good finds that people were getting. And yeah, just my local area. One day I saw a bin. It was, I think it was quite late at night. So I thought, yeah, I'll just pull over, whip the lid open, and have a rummage through. And there's obviously certain stores, there's certain different types of shops. Obviously, the main ones for me, as bad as this sounds, are charity shop bins.
Well, this is
So
what Lindsay and Alvin Dumpster Divers said to me on the last podcast. If anyone wants to go back and listen to that at some point, we've spoke to Lindsay and Alvin. They are dumpster divers, and they said the same about charity shops. So are you finding that as well?
yeah, definitely the sort of bigger chain ones, rather than every town has this sort of smaller local independent ones, whether it's for the cats or things like that. But the bigger chain ones where they're getting donations shipped in from a sort of national hub and things like that, they've got to be the worst for throwing items out. So the few that I go to, they either throw items out, like sometimes things are in there for a genuine reason. Obviously, if something's broken, they can't sell it. If it's unsafe, they can't sell it, and I can't do much with it on eBay either. But sometimes they will have items in their store for however months, 2-3 months, and if it doesn't sell, it just goes in the bin, because I can tell, because it's labeled up with the price and the month that it was put out in the shop. And the other items are literally just straight donations, not even sorted through, dumped straight in the bin.
How
And
do you
this
know
tends
that?
to be, I can tell because of the carrier bags things are in, and I can tell that that's literally a bag that someone's dropped off. No one's been through it, because in the bags I found a couple of decent bits, and the rest maybe isn't so good, so they haven't been through it.
How does
And
that
I think
happen? That winds me right up. That it really does. How does that happen? Where somebody brings something through the door to donate to a charity shop, and it doesn't even get looked at and gets put. How does that? I can't even get that in my head. Why they do
yeah,
that?
it does make you think a bit, when you think you're doing a good deed and donating your stuff, um, that it sometimes goes straight in the bin. And there's nothing wrong with it, whether they're inundated with donations or they've got too much of that item and they don't want to store it. I really don't know what it is, but yeah, I've made a lot of money from dumpster divings, which is why it's sort of leading down something that I'm doing a lot more of. It'll be about 3 times a week. I'll either go in the morning, like I said, before work, or if I'm out doing something else, I'll go in the evenings, just to a few local areas. I don't really do it to that big a scale. I don't go to any food stores. I don't go to any big shops like the Smiths, PC Worlds, Matalan, or anything like that. I try and keep it quite sort of small scale, but I've still done all right. I released a video not so long ago where I earned £1,000 from dumpster diving.
Wow.
And the thing is, everything I get, it doesn't mean it just goes straight onto eBay. Obviously, I'm helping out friends and family as well. I'll redonate the items. There's also a free Facebook group that I'm on that I'll give items away. So it's not all about making profit from it. It's just about saving it from landfill, really.
Yeah. No, I totally get you with that. Do you ever do that? There's a few houses around here that do it where people just leave stuff out at the front and just say, "Please help yourself." You ever do that?
Yeah, I've done that before. We've just moved into a new build development, so there's not a lot of sort of people around here to do that at the moment. But yeah, the free groups on Facebook work really well, and it just means I know that the item's getting another life, and the people are really appreciative of it. And yeah, I know it's not going to landfill.
Tommy Trades on YouTube has got a comment here, and he says, even though their stock is free donations, if they waste off things that don't sell for them, they can claim it as an expense or a loss at the end of the year. Charity shops exposed. That's one way of looking at it, isn't it?
Interesting point. Yeah.
Interesting. Have you had any trouble dumpster diving? I always ask this question to people who dumpster dive because it's fascinating. Have you had any arguments or any nutters come up to you?
So I never actually answered how long I've been doing it. So I've been doing it just over a year, I think.
All right.
From when I first went. Obviously, I've ramped it up a little bit now. Now I've found a sort of hot spots. I've got 3 or 4 local areas that I just go to all the time because I've had some good items, and I kind of got no plans to expand that. Just sort of keep it as it is. Personally, I've never been confronted by anyone, whether it's shop staff, member of the public, or police or security. There was one area I used to go to that I don't go to anymore, where there was sort of like a security car, and he might have been following me and things like that. And there's a lot of cameras and things like that. So I decided not to go back there, because it could have been private property and things like that. So I don't really want to go down that route. I don't do any trespassing onto any private property. It's all sort of public land and things like that. So yeah, I've never been confronted. I think members of the public would be more scared to confront you anyway, if that makes sense, rather than being scared of them.
Yeah.
But the thing that always goes through my mind is that people probably think that we're fly tipping, especially people that work in the stores. If they were to see you, they probably think you're taking bin bags out of your car and putting them in the bin. Which is the thing. If I was to get approached, I think someone would say. But no, I've not had any issues yet. But like I say, I go out very early in the morning or late in the evening. I don't tend to go when the shop's still open.
Fingers crossed you don't get any trouble. So you focus on the charity shops mainly. You ever thought about going to some of the bigger shops? Because I've watched like Dumpster Diving UK and channels like that where they go to like Apple stores and Nike stores. I remember watching one. I think it was Martin from Dumpster Diving UK who found a humongous haul of trainers in at the back of a Nike shop. Have you ever thought about having a go at that?
Yeah, I've seen the Nike video. I think that went a bit viral for him. That might have been how I discovered his channel. I think that was the first video I found. But the bigger stores, I think where I'm based, the town centre near me, they all seem to be locked off and sort of in private areas and things like that. They're not as open as I've seen that are in his videos. But I do go to some other places, not just charity shops. There's some car garages that I go to. You can get some scrap parts out of there, brake discs and things like that. I get sort of oil filters and filters for your cars that are brand new, things like that. There's a couple of random other places that I can get some scrap metal and some other parts. So it's not just charity shops, but I think I'll probably not go to the bigger stores like some people do, purely because of my car and the cameras and things like that. I just can't be doing with any trouble.
No, I understand that. Is there anything that springs to mind, like something really interesting that you found whilst dumpster diving?
I've had a lot of good finds. Anything that's interesting, I've pulled out a ring binder of Action Men comics, which I think they were labelled up at 50p each for the charity shop, and for some reason they were in the bin, and I don't know why they didn't sell in the shop, because that was quite a reasonable price.
Yeah.
But that sold for £100 on eBay, so that was quite good.
That's nice. There's nothing better than free, is there, at the end of the day?
I know. I came home that night, and I think they sold within a couple of hours. I had a listing, and I had an offer, come in, and I thought, yeah, I only got that about an hour ago. I'm going to take £100. And
exactly, yeah. And the thing is, like, when you've got it for free, you know, you're not so worried about your profit margin, because it doesn't matter so much because you paid nothing.
Yeah, like personally, I've had quite a slow January. I don't know if it's the same for everyone else, but my store had a proper sort of lull where, I had some no sale days, and everything that was selling was quite sort of low value. So the last week or so, it's proper picked up, and I've had some offers come in of stuff that I picked up for free, and I've just been accepting it because it all adds up.
Yeah,
it gets some bigger, bulkier items gone, and it gets my store back up and running.
Exactly.
But yeah, I have had some good finds.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I've seen some of your Instagram reels and stuff, and you've picked up some great stuff. I've got a question here from Ready Steady Retro on YouTube. Question for George: what percentage of dumpster dive stock do you sell in comparison to your other sources?
That's a very good question. I'd have to say I'd say it would change for the time of year. So obviously, we're just coming up to car boot season. When the car boots hit, I'll probably be ramping it up, and that'll sort of overtake and be the majority of my stock. And I might do a bit less dumpster diving because they've started. But I like over the winter time, it's been a very good sort of source for stock because there's no car boots. You've got Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, places like that. As a percentage, I don't know if I could think of a figure. I'd probably say about half of the items are from dumpster diving, and it's not just dumpster diving. It's people that have got skips on their driveway. It's offices that are having clear outs. If there's ever a skip, I'm always in there looking for stuff. So yeah, I'd say about half at the moment.
That's quite a big percentage. So 50% of maybe what you've got listed on eBay is from dumpster diving.
Yeah, I'd say either dumpster diving, or I pick up a lot of items on Facebook that are free, that are worth something. So yeah, I think people would be very surprised if they look on my store what I've actually bought to resell and what I've actually got for free.
That's amazing. I'm well impressed with that 50%. That I was thinking you're gonna say like 10% or something, but that's impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. It might be close to 50. Yeah. It's hard to put a number on it, but it's definitely quite a bit.
A question here from Nick and Andrea on YouTube. Sorry if I missed, but have you got any views on the legalities of dumpster diving?
Yeah, so I've sort of learned this from the other people talk about it, and I've kind of just said to myself, I'm not gonna, climb any fences, go through any gates or anything like that. This is why I don't do the bigger stores, because I don't want any trouble. If you do a quick Google, is dumpster diving legal in the UK? Then the answer is yes. It's not strictly illegal. Some people will say it's theft, but obviously the items have been thrown away. They don't belong to the store. They probably belong to the bin company. I don't do any trespassing on private land, and even if you are trespassing and you're caught, then that's dealt with the owner of the land. It's not as
True.
far as I'm aware, talking
Yeah.
to an ex-police officer, not an arrestable
Testing
offence.
the knowledge now. You're testing that knowledge bank.
So I can only go off what I've learned from all the other people,
Yeah.
and I just think if there's people doing it bigger than me, and they're not locked up, then I'm pretty safe.
Fair enough. Yeah, we had this conversation with Lindsay and Alvin on the last podcast of. I think theirs was the last podcast of series 1. I think we had the similar conversation. It's such a grey area.
Yeah,
I think as a police officer, you'd have to have a real. You'd have to be a real job's worth to do anything, about
yeah.
it. So
I mean, they've got a lot better ththings to do, and when you explain, you're actually doing some good. They're actually
yeah,
like, all right.
I think
Um,
most would be fine with it.
but obviously, if I was to go somewhere and I was approached by security and told to move on, I'm not going to kick up a fuss. I'll just listen to him, and I won't go back there probably.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that kind of wraps up dumpster diving, unless you've got anything else to sort of mention on that subject. Anything else on dumpster diving?
Uh, Not that I can think of. Like I said before, not everything that I take goes straight on eBay. I redonate items to independent charity shops that I know will sell it in their own store. I've raised quite a lot of money for charities. I've done a video about that as well.
That's good.
And I just think of friends and family if there's anyone that could use the items and things like that. And I just make sure that I'm saving what I can and reusing what I can.
Definitely. Sounds good. Let's move on to YouTube, because you're on YouTube. You've got your own channel. It's George's Treasure Shed, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
That's where people can find you. So, did that come about from watching other resellers, and did you think to yourself, well, I might give that a go myself? How'd that come about, and what's your motivation for being on YouTube?
Yeah, definitely. I was watching a lot of other resellers, and I thought, well, at the time I didn't have an Instagram page. I didn't really have much of a brand or anything. I kind of just had my eBay store. And I was watching others, and I was thinking, I could maybe give this a go. But the confidence side of it always kind of knocked me down. And, I'd think about it and I'd put it off and I'd never do it. And then one day I just made a channel. I sort of revamped my sort of brand. So my eBay store and my Instagram and my YouTube, it's all got the same sort of logo, the style and things like that. One day I just picked up my phone, recorded a little video and put it on there. And I sort of said to myself that I'm going to commit to try and put out a little bit of new content every week. So I mostly upload Sunday mornings. And I've also started doing a couple of live streams and things like that as well. So my motivation side of it is because I know it's doing me good. I know it's building my confidence up. Yeah. When you start getting subscribers and you start sort of building up this nice community that we've got, everyone's on Instagram. We all message on Instagram if we need any help with things, or when we see something that someone's picked up that's interesting. And it's just a real nice community. And when you're putting out content and you get some really nice comments, obviously you get the not so nice ones, but the majority, I'd say, on my videos are supporting what I'm doing, especially the dumpsters diving side of it. And
have you had any negatives yet? Have you had any trolls on your channel?
Yeah, I've had a few on the dumpster diving ones, and I've had a few about the video I did on flipping items from Vinted onto eBay. Someone was trying to tell me about making sure I declare my taxes and things like that when all that came to light.
You always get those ones.
But it's like
people automatically assume that reselling that you don't pay your taxes.
Yeah,
it baffles me. How many times I get that comment?
I think I went back with something like, if you sort of look at the scale of the business we've got, then there's no way you'd be doing it without having to declare something.
Yeah, and especially when you start putting yourself on YouTube as well, it's like you're putting yourself in the public eye. Are you really going to be doing that underhand. I mean, it's just not worth it. Some comments that people put, and you'll get more and more as your channel grows.
Yeah,
You'll get more and
yeah.
more. But
I must say, sort of 95%, they're really supportive comments,
oh
and
yeah,
it's just nice to see your subscribers grow and, like I say, the community grow. And yeah, that's my motivation to carry on. And it's really good to look back on. Just before I came live, I went on my channel and I went right back to the start. And it's nice to see you develop as a person. It's nice to see your business developing, because it's like a bit of an archive, isn't it, of your life as such.
exactly. Yeah,
If you didn't do it, then you lose all their memories. So yeah.
totally. Yeah, I mean, that's how we deal with our channel. We commit the cardinal sin, really, as far as YouTube goes. We're a mixed channel,
Mm,
so we've got content on that's our personal stuff. We've got content of the dog, and we've got holiday vlogs. We've events that we've been to, and we've vlogged it. And YouTube hate that, they really do. But we're too far down the line with it now, and it's like, we've come this far. We're just going to carry on. And I still love looking back on stuff that we did 10 years ago and that we documented on YouTube. I love watching it back. And if I hadn't have put it on YouTube, it'd probably be like, there'd be clips, like 10-second clips or 30-second clips of things that we did on the hard drive that never gets watched.
yeah.
Because I do save all that kind of stuff. I save it onto a hard drive. But
Hmm.
if I didn't put it on YouTube, if I didn't make a interesting video out of it, I'd never watch it again. So we kind of like now and again putting out the odd thing up that we can look back on. And the same with the reselling. I recently did similar to you, and I'd look back on the early videos that I did. God, bloody awful. Video number 1 reselling that I did was terrible.
I
I
need to have a look
actually
at it now then.
filmed it. I filmed it on my first MacBook that I had. I used the camera from the MacBook, which is awful. When you consider this is Apple and their cameras and audio is terrible. And the lighting was bad. Even my mouth wasn't in sync with it. And it's
Yeah.
it was awful. I think people now, when they start, they're very much more aware of the techniques and how to be a bit more polished, because also there's so many videos out there giving you advice on how to get your channel up and running, and good techniques to use for live streams and good techniques to use when you're making a video. There was none. I don't recall any of that when I started making videos.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely nowadays. And the technology's there. Like, everyone's phone nowadays is up
Yeah,
to a decent quality where you can just pick it up and you've almost got a professional video to go onto YouTube.
totally.
There's lots of sort of free editing programs. I edit the videos myself. It's very basic, but it does the job for me.
The thing is, you
Um,
say it's basic. I still use iMovie to edit mine
yeah,
on the iPhone, and that's as basic a program as they come. But
yeah,
that's because I don't bother with all the bells and whistles. I just want to edit a basic video
mm-hmm,
and put it out, and I still use that. I haven't. I don't even use iMovie on my desktop, which is actually a much better program. There's so much more to it. But on
mm.
I use iMovie on my phone, and I edit everything. Even now, even tomorrow's video that's coming out has been edited on my iPhone using iMovie. And don't get
Yeah, I
me
do
wrong, you can
mine on my
probably
phone.
tell when you watch it, but it's not the point.
It's just convenient.
Yeah, it's very, very easy. I got a question here on YouTube from Ready Steady Retro. After a night interacting on Drink and Dive Live, I went out diving with my dog and found 4+ tins of quality baby formula going out of date that month. Would you have taken it or used it?
Um, Personally, I might have taken it, yeah. And if
If
I
it's
didn't use it,
sealed, why not?
yeah. And if I wasn't going to use it myself, I'd probably just put it on a free Facebook group and redonate it to someone, so I know it's going to get used. It's probably not the thing that could maybe be sold on eBay, but it
Yeah.
could definitely be used, yeah. And I'm glad after seeing the video, then you've got the courage and decided to go out and give it a go. I know a lot of people, a couple of the other reselling lads that I talked to on Instagram have also had the same idea after seeing the live streams and my videos to give it a go. So that's great.
Yeah, I thought about. I've been toying with doing it and having a go, and then I don't. But the most I've ever done is like what Nick was saying in the chat before about getting packaging. We go to mainly a local garden centre, and they tend to give us any boxes, and they always tend to be really good boxes, but sometimes they let us go and rifle through all their bins for boxes as well.
Yeah.
So we do that. And if we see any sort of, when we're driving about and they've been put next to bins ready for the bins to be collected the next day, sometimes we'll go and take those.
Yeah, that's the other thing I've not really talked about. Obviously, we're on about routing through your general waste bins, but a lot of places have both. So they'll have a couple of general waste and a couple of recycling. I do also go into the recycling. So I very rarely have to buy any packaging or boxes for my
Oh, there's
eBay
nothing
business.
worse. There's nothing worse than having to pay for boxes. I hate
So
that.
I do get a lot of boxes out the bin. I get a lot of bubble wrap and things out the bin. I've got there's a couple of places nearby to me that do. One of them does like kids' school meals and things like that. So they get tons of flat pack boxes and the recycling bins full of them. So I've pretty much got a quite reliable, constant supply there.
That's good. That's good. Right. Well, we're coming to the end of the podcast. So what I'm going to do from series 2 onwards is I've got 3 questions that I'm going to ask every single guest. So you're the first, George. So here's your first question. What is the best sale that you've had? Or if you don't want to choose the best sale, you can choose your most unusual sale.
Okay. So I have had to make a couple of notes here. So my best sale, and it's not necessarily the best because of the value, even though it is quite high value, but the fact that it was free. So like I say, I'm always scouring Facebook Marketplace for pickups. And I saw an advert that someone put on there for, they had 3 brass instruments in their cases. They didn't want any money for them. They just wanted them to go to someone and not be chucked out.
Like musical instruments, you mean?
Yeah, I think I'm not a musical person, so I couldn't tell you what they were. One was definitely a trumpet, and a couple of others a cornet or something like that. And I did a lot of research into them. I had them all professionally polished after I found out the potential value. And yeah, I got some nice photos, and all 3 sold. One sold for £800, one sold for 500, and one sold for 300.
Bloody hell, that's cracker, that. That is
And
I do know that
within
musical instruments and especially brass instruments can be worth a really good amount of money. It's always worth it if you spot them at boot sales to have a little look at them and see what the people want for them, definitely.
Yeah, it must have been the specific make and the age of them or something, but they all sold within a month. So I put that down as my best sale.
That's awesome, that.
I have had sort of unusual things. Again, something that came out of a skip was one of these sort of automatic bath lift things that you have like an aid. So it kind of sits in the bottom of your bath and you charge it up and it sort of raises and lowers you. And it was quite comical because I had to test it. So I was sat in my garage testing this bath lift going up and down. But yeah, I picked that up for free and that sold for £150. So
brilliant. That's amazing.
That's my unusual one.
Yeah, that's great. That excellent. They're good examples. Which one should we do next? Let's go with we need pick one achievable goal that you could have for yourself for this year that you think that you'd like to achieve.
Okay, I had a couple written down, so I'm going to pick what I think would be the sort of most sort of beneficial, motivational. which is by the end of the year, I'd like to have 2,500 YouTube subscribers.
Okay.
So I think it's really important to set little targets. It
Yeah.
kind of just keeps you ticking over, keeps you motivated to hit them. I think I'm sat at about 1,400 or so at the moment. So I think that's achievable if I sort of, ramp up the content. Obviously, we're coming up to car boot season.
That's what
People
you want.
love car boot videos.
Style videos that'll get you most of your subs this year.
Yeah, I think definitely over the Christmas time, it's a bit harder for us to think of some content and still put out, quality videos. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So that would be my goal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll revisit that in a year and see how you're doing.
Definitely.
Okay. The last question I've got for you is, have you got some reselling words of wisdom for everyone watching or listening?
Yeah, so I wrote down a few little bullet points. It's kind of stuff I've always got in the back of my head. I'm always someone to sort of take a bit of a risk and, go out of my comfort zone, because I've discovered what the sort of rewards can be of that. I've also discovered the sort of downfalls if it don't go well. But yeah, I've just got never give up. If you're a reseller like us, if your sales are down, then it's nothing you're doing. Never give up, keep plodding along, because it'll always come back. It always comes in waves. So yeah, don't give up with that. Always strive to do your best and push your limits. So like I say, step out your comfort zone, try something new. And just always try your best, really.
Excellent. Words of wisdom right there from George. Okay, right. Thank you so much, George, for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. And it's put you out your comfort zone a little bit. I know that. So I really do appreciate it. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, so my business name is George's Treasure Shed, which is quite hard to say quickly. I've learned that from my videos. So that is my name for my YouTube channel. That's also my eBay shop. So anything you see I'm picking up on YouTube will probably be on my eBay shop. And it's also my Instagram. So it'd be great to see you on Instagram. I do follow and talk to a lot of people on there as well. So yeah, it'd be great to see you there.
Brilliant. Yeah, everyone go follow George over on YouTube, especially because he needs to hit that 2,500 by the end of the year. Otherwise, he's failed miserably on his achievable goal. No, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you to everybody who's been watching on YouTube live. And thank you if you're listening back on one of the podcast channels like Spotify, Apple Music, etc. I really appreciate that too. Feel free to go back and listen to Series 1 and keep your eye open for Series 2 and the new podcast coming up. Lots more guests, lots more reseller chit-chat. And that's pretty much it. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast channel so that you automatically get downloads of the podcast when new ones come available. That is it. Thank you again, George. And we'll see you all on the next one.
For having me. Appreciate it. I've really enjoyed it.
Excellent. See you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
That's it for today's episode of the Everything Reselling Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, to follow, or to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you on the next episode.